Hi, my name is Karen Brown. I am currently enrolled as a student at the University of Mount Olive. And for today's video, I will be discussing my final presentation for Psychology 355 or Abnormal Psychology. And for the purpose of our final presentation, we were to choose a movie and discuss any mental illnesses found within that movie. I chose Full Metal Jacket because I felt like this would be the perfect representation of mental illness back when mental illness was not freely discussed, which was in the 70s, around the time of the Vietnam War, which is what this movie was based on. Um, and these soldiers are going into basic training. They're going into uncharted territory. They are being stripped of any type of individuality that they may have. Their heads are shaved. They're given uniforms to wear. They're going through basic training techniques to prepare them for an unknown war. They have no idea what they're up against. They're already confused and they feel powerless. And they are basically told that they are no longer humans. They are basically weapons for the military. And this begins to take a profound effect on one character in particular, which is Leonard Lawrence. Leonard Lawrence in this movie is kind of a simple-minded, overweight. He's kind of slow to catch on to things. He lacks self-reassurance and without guidance. So during this movie, he appears to be the weakest link within his squad. And Sergeant Hartman is quick to pick up on this because he decides to give him the nickname Gomer Pyle. And anyone that knows the name Gomer Pyle, it's based on a character from the Andy Griffith Show that shares the same characteristics as Leonard Lawrence, which is incompetent and slow, just kind of simple-minded. And so Sergeant Hartman begins to punish Gomer Pyle, thinking that this will recondition him to become the soldier that he needs to be for this Vietnam War. But Leonard Lawrence, with his simplistic nature, still struggles getting through basic training. So he has been assigned Joker, as well as the rest of the squad, to kind of pick up his slack and prepare him and help train him for this war. Um, so it gets to a point where that this is not working. So Sergeant Hartman decides that instead of punishing Gomer Pyle, he is going to punish the entire squad for Gomer Pyle's mistakes. So there are several instances where he is, for instance, in this episode, where he is being punished, or better yet, his squad is being punished for Sergeant Hartman finding a donut in his bunker, and he is made to eat that donut while his squad pays or is being punished for it. So the squad takes it upon themselves to have a hazing party or a blanket party, which is where they take soap and wrap it up in towels and brutally beat Gomer Pyle with these bars of soap. And at the end, Joker, which is supposed to be his friend, joins in this beating, which kind of snaps something in Gomer Pyle. He has already been dehumanized he's been picked on, humiliated, demoralized, and now his entire squad has turned against him. So he turns his focus onto his rifle and gives her the name of Charlene, and focuses all his attention on Charlene, which in a sense is beneficial because he begins to excel at basic training. Even to the point where he is basically told by Sergeant Hartman that he is born again hard, which is supposed to be a compliment, but in a sense gives an illusion to his mentality at that moment, because it is this statement is based on infamous murderers like Lee Harvey Oswald or Charles Whitman, that they are heartless killers. And this is what Gomer Pyle was turning into, is a heartless killer. He's turning into exactly what Sergeant Hartman wants him to be. This pure, deadly, uncontrollable mental weapon, which born again hard. And so basic training has ended. They have survived and made it through graduation and then given their duties. And this is when Gomer Pyle finds out that he is going into infantry. Well, this snaps something in Gomer Pyle. It's kind of sealed his fate. He knows he's going to die. And this triggers what's left of his sanity. This triggers the rest of it. So in an episode, he is caught in the reformatory with this weapon in his hand, and he is shouting the rifleman's creed. He's kind of lost grip on reality. He is self-isolated. He has this, clearly in this scene, you can see that he has this blank, deranged expression on his face, this cold-hearted, empty killer. And when Sergeant Hartman hears this ruckus, he comes in there and starts shouting at Gomer Pyle, and Gomer Pyle just snaps. He shoots Sergeant Hartman in the chest and turns around, looks at Joker, and for a split second has a bit of remorse. So he sits down on the commode and puts the trigger up to his chin and pulls the trigger. Basically, this is a murder-suicide act. And little did we know at the time, but this form of mental instability was later diagnosed as PTSD, or recognized as PTSD, which was something that was not recognized until the 1980s, which is several years after the Vietnam War. This is why I felt like it was important to discuss Leonard Lawrence in particular in this movie, because he is a perfect representation of what PTSD can do to someone just simply going through basic training. So I hope I have shed enough insight on this mental illness. Some of the symptoms, they could be having nightmares or flashbacks or physical reactions to any type of traumatic event, which is what he did in the murder-suicide act. And today, this would be diagnosed and treated. There are several form of treatments. There's cognitive, there's exposure, there's eye movement desensitization, there's cognition behavior therapy, there's medicinal treatment. There's several forms of treatment: anxiety meds, acupuncture for individuals who want to take more of a holistic approach. but there are several forms of treatment available to any individual that is suffering from PTSD or any other mental illness. So I hope I have summed up PTSD as best I could based on the movie Full Metal Jacket. And this concludes my presentation. Again, my name is Karen Brown, and I did my presentation on PTSD based on the movie Full Metal Jacket. Thank you for your time.